Yeah.
Yes, indeed. T-Radar's with us this morning, talking issues. Good morning, T-Radar.
Always good, a bit of Americana Sound Machine. Sort of goes with that sense that there's that rancid stench of summer in the air.
Rancid?
Just around the corner.
Certainly not rancid.
Oh, I don't know, summer. Smell of burnt grass and
Oh, love it.
things like that.
Oh, you're talking my language.
Give me a good winter.
Oh, no.
No, looking forward to it. Yesterday, wasn't it a perler?
Wasn't it?
Just sort of, like sort of that, it's just frustrating. You
What
want to
is?
get up every day and have it here.
Oh, what?
Summer.
Summer.
Yeah. I was trying to make some kind of wonderful metaphor that alluded to, the sort of that sort of coy smile of the girl in the nightclub that promises something that never delivers. But I thought that would be inappropriate.
Did I call you to talk about the weather? I can't remember. Did we? Is that what? No. Oh, okay.
I don't think so, but it is exciting. No, more exciting things. I was sitting in my car in the sunshine yesterday.
Yeah.
I got angry yesterday morning in the sunshine when it should have been a beautiful day, ruined by Clayton Cosgrove.
What's he done?
Labour MP, having a go at Peter Sharples because Peter Sharples had the temerity to invite a whole lot of mongrel mob and black power leaders together at taxpayers' expense to give them a bloody good talking to.
Right.
And Cosgrove says you shouldn't be talking to these people, they're murderers and criminals and violent thugs. Whereas you sort of think, well, I think the meeting cost about $6,000, and if one meeting like that can save $6,000 worth of harm to an individual, one person or something like that, probably worth it. And, from what I gather, I suspect Peter Sharples wasn't there, simply offering them tea and biscuits and stroking their hair and mollycoddling them and going, oh, please can you fellas, not go and be so bad. I suspect he probably gave them a bloody good talking to.
No doubt. And then dialogue's better than nothing, right?
Well, look, we've got the same issue with North Korea, haven't we? Mm-hmm. But, what do we do? Do we leave them out in the cold, or do we invite them to the table to sit around and go, hey, look, we really need to have a bit of a chat about what's going on?
Because the criticism said that talking to the gangs, it justifies that they exist in their position, but we kind of know they exist,
right?
Well,
pretty sure they exist, and, if we continue not to talk to them and simply isolate them, then it's not really getting us anywhere.
Yeah.
Interesting, there was a thing to say, gang violence has decreased, and you do wonder, well, I wonder if that's decreased because they're now sort of helping each other out. So while you can say, oh, look, no gang violence decreased, you can go, well, actually, it's now a bigger problem because they're all sort of banding together to make as much money as they can from the pea trade.
Yeah.
So no, better to get them together and go, look, how can we help you guys to stop doing what it is you're doing? Because, simply to shut them out in the cold, it doesn't work.
Of course, Sharples has been busier than ever, really, at the moment, isn't he?
Isn't he the busiest of them all? Just out there going about it. And, of course, possibly we realise that, we think he's so busy because all of the things are a bit controversial. The gangs, and then dealing with, essentially the other big gang that he's been dealing with, the IRB, International Rugby Board. They're a bunch of,
Bunch of what?
Bloody thugs, aren't they?
Are they thugs?
Look at them. Look at the money they're taking out of the New Zealand taxpayers' pocket. Only this week, the estimated loss, that will be incurred by the good people of New Zealand, $80 million. So when you put that up against the $3 million that was going to go towards MTS to have the rugby, not much really.
Yeah.
So this supposed nation of 4 million people, a stadium of 4 million people, all of us, in some way or other, subsidising the rugby.
Yeah, and then we get to watch it on full channels at the same time.
All at the same time. Yes, very odd. TVNZ and TV3 have put $1 million in each, and MTS have put a fair bit more in, and so. I suspect for anyone who, the channel that doesn't have the game at the time, because I think MTS and either 3 or 1 will be simulcasting some of the games, and I think MTS gets one that no one really, it's New Zealand versus Canada. Yeah. Not a big one.
I hate to bring his name up, but according to laws, I'm probably not a true New Zealander.
Because you're not that big a fan of the World Cup?
Not that big a fan. In fact, I'm actually thinking about being out of the country.
It wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah.
And when you think of all the extra money, all the stadium money and all of that, it'd be interesting. And, it was very fascinating. I was down in Southland over the weekend, and they, the stadium down there, that Southland were playing... They played Taranaki, I think, and the countryside was abuzz with it. That sort of NPC level rugby, that grassroots kind of thing. People totally absorbed by it, loving the season. Very, dismissive of the All Blacks. They could take them or leave them, but that sort of grassroots thing, very strong out there in the provinces. So I suspect, those provinces that do have those odd overseas games coming to them, your New Plymouths and your, I don't know, I think they're going to Invercargill or Napier, or wherever it is they're going. Could be quite good fun. But yes, a lot of money being poured into it from us, and poor old Peter Sharple's there in the firing line.
It's your radar. Schoolboys.
Yes.
Facebook.
Not
swastikas.
Swastikas, schoolboys and Facebooks. It's like you just know that there's going to be controversy over that. And of course, Auckland Grammar, some schoolboys went to the museum in Auckland, and they took some photographs of themselves bowing down before a Nazi flag, and I think they kissed it or saluted it or something like that. And the outcry.
The outrage.
The outrage. Rather than people going, look, schoolboys, on the whole, generally a little bit stupid.
Yeah.
I hardly think this is indicative of a rise of anti-Semitism through the nation and a total ignorance of the Holocaust. I mean, you could know about the Holocaust and feel bad about it and still do something a bit stupid like this.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay, well, here's the thing about that, right? So the first people to pipe up is the Jewish Council.
Always.
Because they always are, right? And that voice...
fair enough, too,
Yeah, I'm just saying, that voice needs to be there.
Yes.
Absolutely needs to be there, 100%.
Yes.
But every time that something like this happens, it's always about the Holocaust.
Yes.
Now, I'd say for most New Zealanders who went off to war in World War II, it wasn't about the Holocaust or the Jews.
No,
it was about fighting the Hun. It was about beating the Bosch. It was about
right.
taking out the enemy.
There wasn't really, no one was really sure what else they were doing.
No, at that time,
we did
right?
do that. But also, there's all those other sort of, I guess, the less sort of socially acceptable people that were killed, the homosexuals and the gypsies and the Slavs. They all got taken out, in the same sort of organised slaughter. And the thing that always gets me with this is people say, it's dreadful, we must never let it happen again. Well, it's Cambodia, Rwanda, happening all the time.
Happening all the time.
And if they want to have they're saying that, we should be teaching the Holocaust in high school. Well, I think we should be teaching about all of these Holocausts in the high school, because...
But what absolutely, and I don't want to sort of diminish that at all.
Absolutely not.
But what I do want to say is that I found, I know schoolboys will be stupid and stuff, but I did find the photos offensive personally. If I was going to find it offensive, it was personally because my grandparents went and fought. Had nothing to do with the Jews, but the grandparents went and fought. They fought that enemy. That was the enemy.
Yes.
Right. And so and those symbols symbolise the enemy.
Yes.
And so that's my personal kind of hurt there. Right.
Yes, I do. I understand.
But I don't think our voice or my voice is heard as loudly as the Jewish Council that pipes up every time.
No.
That's all I'm saying about that.
Well, they are very good, and and rightly so. They are very sort of proactive about this kind of thing, because it's a terrible sort of situation to happen. I just think that again, it's just another example of juvenile stupidity. And teenage boys do a lot of really stupid things. And it doesn't mean you're not paying. It doesn't mean you're paying disrespect to it. It just means you've done something a bit stupid. We've all done something a bit stupid that you've looked back on and gone, oh bloody hell, that could be misinterpreted. It's not what we meant at all. We were just sort of taking the mickey, really.
And traditionally that would have been sorted in house, and we wouldn't have even heard it. We wouldn't
have
talking
heard
about
it. Bit of an in-house prank, and you laugh about it, and you move on to something else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's move on to something else.
Look, I tell you what, we think we've got a gang problem here with pee and drugs and things like that. Rio, just been announced that they're having the Olympics in 2016, an upsurge in violence in the favelas there. They've just shot down the police helicopter.
Oh, goodness.
Drug gangs and sort of, ghetto gangs have shot it out of the sky.
Yeah.
You think, good Lord, what's going to happen? 6,000 murders in Rio last year, mostly related to drug gang feuds. You think, crikey, it's going to be an interesting Olympics, isn't it?
Have you seen that Ross Kemp goes to Rio?
Look, I did, actually.
That's pretty full on, eh?
Crikey, it's not a place I'd sort of like to pop into those places for a holiday.
It's all about whether that's what I thought, but apparently it's meant to be safe. But it all depends on what tattoo you're wearing, I think.
That's right, yeah. Well, I guess, tattoos and gang colours, all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people wearing their own particular colours when they go over there for the Olympics, the colours of their nation and all of that kind of thing, so... Yes, I wonder whether they'll just put a huge cordon, just build a wall around the sort of the favelas and not let anyone out. But yes, I always think, it's always good to put things into perspective, and yes, there is a drug problem here, and we've gone all out and banned bloody cold and flu remedies. And over there, they're dealing with people shooting down helicopters and killing 6,000 a year.
People say cold and flu remedies, right? But I'm heading into hay fever season.
Yes.
And I don't mind popping the odd pseudoephedrine pill to sort that out.
It's they've put a sticking plaster on a gaping gash in the sort of torso of the whole problem.
Yeah.
And from various evidence that you read here and there, it's banning the cold and flu thing's not going to do anything because there's all the container loads of the stuff coming in from China and various other places shipping into the country, and a few nongs who travel around and buy a few packets of pseudoephedrine.
Small time.
And, you got people like Paul Holmes coming out and go, oh, well, it's packets of pseudoephedrine are found in many of the sort of P labs they bust around the country. And it's like, yeah, possibly because many of the P labs they bust around the country are quite low down on the actual amount they're producing. Probably not producing, the vast quantities that some of the big gangs are. So, yes, madness, I think. And I think that the true impact of it all will happen when we all start to suffer from a bit of hay fever and a few cold and flu symptoms.
I was thinking about giving John Key a call when I do.
Look, you should.
Yeah.
It would be marvellous. But until then, all we can hope is that the hay fever doesn't strike us and that common sense prevails.
Thanks, T-Radar.
We'll speak again next